This episode contains elements of domestic violence. Listener's discretion is advised. Previously on Jasmine's therapy.
I just wanted to make sure you didn't have the word discernment confused with forgiveness.
I get that and all, but I'm sorry. I wasn't cut from that fabric of forgiveness then. Maybe that's why I'm so quick to cut someone off. I can't seem to get my shit together.
I had a friend, or rather someone I called a friend. I can count on one hand how many times she actually asked how I was. She called me a terrible friend because I wasn't there for her in her worst time. I abandoned her, is what she said to me.
Well, it's not too late to reconcile, I would think.
Well, how do you think I should do that?
She may need therapy.
We all need therapy.
Thank you for the water.
Oh, no problem. I know earlier we touched a bit on Terry's passing. You mentioned you found out more about him and you gave this little smirk. Was that on purpose?
I honestly don't know if I'm ready to talk about that. I'm still a little frustrated and tender.
Oh, okay. May I ask why you don't feel ready?
I mean, yeah, you can ask, but that's not going to get me to want to go into it now. Still hurts.
I see. Losing someone so close to you can be very hard to recover from, and losing a spouse, I'm sure, would be a pain no one wants to endure. You mentioned you have your friends and some family.
Do you want to know the last thing he said to me before he passed away?
Yes.
He loved me.
Oh?
He was on his way to help his mom set up her Wi-Fi, and he wanted to tell me that he loved me very dearly, and he was sorry for everything that he ever put me through. I thought it was one of the sweetest things that he ever did. We had some rough patches together throughout the years. Very rough patches.
Mm-hmm.
We used to get into fights. Physical, verbal, mostly physical though. He would say my mouth was too slick, so I had to be brought down a peg or two.
I am so sorry to hear that.
Oh, don't be sorry. My mouth was very reckless. One time I got on his ass about leaving the food out overnight. I had cooked some spaghetti, and I had told him to put it in the fridge after the food cooled down some. He said okay, and I went upstairs to finish my work. I had crazy hours back then, from 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. Yeah. I came back downstairs to go to bed, and the food was still on the stove.
Mm-hmm.
I was furious. I grabbed some spaghetti noodles out the strainer and went to the bedroom.
Oh, I think I know where this is going.
You guessed it. I threw them all over him to get his ass up.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. We fought to the death in there.
Well, I'm speechless.
You can say it. We were toxic.
I don't know if toxic is an accurate description of the two of you.
Call a spade, Doc.
Pardon me for saying this, but it almost seems as if you were accepting of this kind of behavior.
Oh, no. I won't say that I accepted it. I never accept anyone putting hands on me.
And I agree fully. However, with this instance, you started the chaos. I'm sure you had to go into this assuming he was going to retaliate in some way.
Nope. I just saw red.
So the need for you to get revenge was more powerful than letting it go?
Yes. Because for years I took abuse from him. I just started giving it back to him. Matching energy. It became us. It became our story.
That is a hard story.
But life is a hard story, isn't it?
It can be, yes.
So what's the problem then?
Can I ask you something?
Why, yes. Of course you can. Go right ahead. I'm listening.
So you're planning on dating again?
What the hell does that have to do with anything?
I'm just curious. You plan on dating again sometime in the future, right?
Maybe. Why?
Because sometimes we use old luggage to go on new destinations without checking to see if the old luggage is still worth carrying. It could be falling apart and everything, but we still use it because it's familiar to us and we think it has value.
Wait, what are you saying? My old ways may carry into something new?
What I'm saying is The idea of matching energies is never a good thing, no matter how many times people try to justify their reasoning. We go into relationships thinking we're changed, but in actuality, most of the time it's our representative being seen to the public. It's only in times of discomfort or controversy where we see our true selves, and sometimes that true self can be something really bad or something amazing. So no, I'm not saying you'll do that, carry over trauma from your marriage into something new. But what I am saying is to think about it.
Okay, I hear you.
Okay.
He was all of a sudden very nice to me about a month before he died. I was watching television and he sat next to me and said, "I'm so sorry for everything I put you through. I'm so sorry for hitting you. I will never do that again. Please forgive me."
Do you have any idea what it stemmed from?
No. He just sat there, looked me in the eyes, and said he was sorry. He never did it again.
Did you believe him?
Yes, I did. I mean, he would say it all the time after we would,
Yeah.
But this time, nothing happened prior to it. There were no arguments or fights for a while leading up to that.
Okay.
It was like a light switch, on and off. And it happened on a big random-ass Tuesday. After that, he was the biggest gentleman. I didn't have to tell him to do anything twice. He actually did all the cleaning and everything. I'm talking about flowers and things, having sex like we were newlyweds. I began to feel like this is what life is supposed to be like. This is what it feels like to be in love again.
And that's a great thing. Recapturing that spark. Sometimes people have moments where they begin to understand they're in a great relationship, or in your case, a marriage, and stop taking it for granted.
Maybe. Doc, do you think people know when they're about to die?
I never considered it. Is that why you think he began to change?
I don't know. It just seems odd that he would decide to have this epiphany. I mean, you have to know him. I loved him regardless, but he wasn't a nice man at all. I truly thought this is who he was, and I accepted. I see what you did there, making me see that I accepted his behavior.
I didn't say it, you did.
You have a way with words. I give you that.
But keep in mind, you didn't have to put up with it.
I know, but maybe that's a part of my addictive behavior too. Going back, even though I wasn't supposed to. Needing to care for him because nobody else would care for him like me.
But that doesn't mean you had to keep going back to it. Let me say this. Although I don't believe you have an addictive trait, I can understand your need to feel attached to something. But at some point, people know when enough is enough. You may not have reached that breaking point throughout your marriage because Terry had a change of heart. But eventually, I feel you would have reached your limit. And it may have been catastrophic.
You still never answered my question.
What question?
Do you think people know when they're about to die?
I can't answer that question.
Well, duh, I know you can't factually answer it, but I'd like to know your opinion. Enlighten me.
Well, as I said earlier, I never really considered it. But if I had to think about it, I remember watching this video on YouTube once. It was a guy talking about how music artists and celebrities would often talk about death right before they passed. He said a lot of times they do that because they may have either seen or felt something coming their way.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also a believer in my faith. And I know in the Bible it talks about life and death and the power of the tongue. So sometimes what you say can eventually be manifested into your reality, especially if you feel strongly about it. So in Terry's case, it could be either one.
I see.
Or it could just be a freak accident that happened. No one really knows when their time is up here. All we know for certain is at some point death is undefeated. So that's why we have to enjoy the time we have left on Earth.
I hear you.
What do you think?
I believe in what you said.
Okay.
But I also believe that people place themselves in situations where death is the only option out.
That's kind of morbid.
Terry had another family.
What? Excuse me?
Yeah. He had another family and they came to the funeral.
Thank you for listening to episode 4 of Jasmine's Therapy. Tune in next week for the final episode titled Closing Wounds. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast series and others by searching for Stories by Ngolio Co. or Jasmine's Therapy. Also, show your support by checking out our new merch drop specifically for this podcast on ngolio.com/shop.